Salutations, dreamers in dreamland. One more time, greetings and salutations, dreamers in dreamland. Welcome to the latest edition of Listen to Me. Let me tell you something right now. Today is Sunday, November the 28th, 2021. And last night, we had some spectacular boxing. And let me tell you something right now. We had a tremendous upset. And if I were to tell you that I didn't see this coming, I would be lying to you, okay? No, I did not make a prediction video. No, I did not officially pick George Kambosos Jr. However, I did state in a previous video that I felt that Teofimo Lopez had quote-unquote lost his buzz and has been basically making the wrong moves in boxing since defeating Vasily Lomachenko last year. And yesterday, he proved me to be exactly right in my assessment of what he's been doing over the last year in his loss to George Kambosos Jr. The ferocious one, ferocious George Kambosos Jr., congratulations. He floored Teofimo Lopez in the opening round, in the first round. Teofimo Lopez, who had been so cocky and overconfident and practically stupid at the interviews, acting foolish and saying that he was going to guarantee a first-round knockout of George Kambosos Jr. Now, look, I can tell you this. George Kambosos Jr., he didn't show up at the fight just to be there. He didn't show up for a payday. On the other hand, Teofimo Lopez, he may have been looking past George Kambosos, and he may have been there solely for the payday. And I believe that Teofimo Lopez lost this fight when he decided for this fight to go to a purse bid. And I'll explain that to you exactly right now. I'll explain it to you in full right now. That's right, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, yours truly, The Dream. I'm going to break it down for you. That fight last night, that was a very close fight. It was a split decision. I personally had it 7 rounds to 5, 1 knockdown apiece, 114 to 112 for George Ferocious Kambosos Jr. Maybe he won out 8 rounds, maybe, but I had 7 to 5 with 2 knockdowns. And, the judges that scored it for George Kambosos, they scored it very similarly. The one judge that scored the fight for Teofimo Lopez, I believe, scored it for him by 1 point, 114 to 113, which was kind of puzzling to me because a 114-114 fight, that's in a 12-round fight, that's a 6 rounds to 6 fight with no knockdowns. So somehow the judge had maybe a 10-10 round in there or a 9. I don't know what happened with that particular scorecard. I haven't really looked at it yet, but I didn't agree with that scorecard. I didn't see anything yesterday that told me that Teofimo Lopez won the fight. However, being that it was a close fight, had this fight been fought underneath the Top Rank banner on ESPN, Teofimo Lopez being a Top Rank fighter, being the home brand fighter, if the exact same fight takes place, do you really think that, George Kambosos Jr. would have been given the same fair look by some home-cooking, home judges from Top Rank and their top-ranked fighter of Teofimo Lopez? The answer is no. The scorecards would not have looked the same in the exact same fight yesterday had they fought on ESPN, had they fought under the top-ranked banner. Because the top-ranked fighter, the fighter that Bob Arum, the top-ranked that ESPN is invested into more, is Teofimo Lopez. George Kambosos Jr., while he would have fought under the top-ranked banner in that scenario, he was not a top-ranked fighter under a top-ranked contract. Therefore, Top Rank has no vested interest in him whatsoever. So a close fight like last night, with exactly the same, optics, with all the same things happening, with the exact same fight taking place, with Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos Jr. doing the exact same things. If that fight took place on ESPN, Teofimo Lopez would still be the unified, not undisputed, unified 135-pound lightweight boxing champion of the world. He would still have the WBO, WBA, IBF, and Ring Magazine and WBC franchise French Fry title. He would still have all of his hardware and all of his accomplishments and titles intact had that fight taken place on ESPN. But he wanted to be selfish. And I covered this in a previous video, and I will leave, a link to that video in the description box. I will leave that there for you. When Teofimo Lopez decided that he wanted a few schmeckles more, that he wanted a few dollars more. For a few dollars more, when he went to purse bid, and the purse bid was won by Triller. That took the fight from, the purse bid was back, I believe, in February. That took the fight, from ESPN to Triller. From ESPN, the most watched sporting network in the United States of America. ESPN. And you have to keep in mind that on ESPN, during the pandemic, Teofimo Lopez beat Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko, to some people, who was the pound-for-pound king in boxing. Pound-for-pound sweetheart to some, a top 3 kind of pound-for-pound fighter. But some guys had Vasily Lomachenko as pound-for-pound #1. Okay? And Teofimo Lopez beat that guy on ESPN, on national TV, on the biggest sporting platform in this country. The biggest sporting platform in the United States of America. Now, when if you go back and think back, when Oscar De La Hoya got out of the Olympics and became a champion, he fought something like 4 or 5 times in that calendar year. I believe it was 1994 and 1995. He fought 4 or 5 times in that calendar year. Teofimo Lopez, on the other hand, wins the belts, goes a whole calendar year with no fights. No fights. A top-ranked fighter on ESPN, a full year with no fights, out of his own selfishness, because he wanted to go to purse bid. They had to push the fight back. Then he got COVID. He got COVID-19. He got the coronavirus. And, then he had to push it back again. And then Triller defaulted. They defaulted on the purse bid that they won. And the fight ended up on another neutral ground, which was DAZN, who was the second highest bidder. Now, Top Rank hosts the fight. The fight would have got done back in June or July, May maybe. And guess what? The fight, if the same exact fight took place yesterday, Teofimo Lopez would still have those belts. I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying that's reality. That's reality of boxing. Home cooking happens. And that's why sometimes it may be in a fighter's best interest to satisfy his mandatories under his home banner. Look, Teofimo Lopez clearly looked past George Kambosos Jr. Teofimo Lopez clearly looked past the Ferocious One. Going to Devin Haney and talking to him at that other fight and all this bullshit. It's fucking nonsense. And it cost Teofimo Lopez his championships at 135 pounds. And that bullshit that Teofimo Lopez pulled when he went to the Canelo fight with his belts, with his fake WBC French fry belt, and tried to claim that he was one of the 7. No, you're not one of the 7, Teofimo Lopez. You never were, and you won't be. And you definitely were not one of the 6. The 6 undisputed champions in the 4-belt era of male boxing, okay? And Teofimo Lopez is not one of them. Alexander Usyk, Terrence Bud Crawford, Josh Taylor, Jermaine Taylor, Bernard Hopkins. Those are the guys. Canelo Alvarez. Those are the 6. Those are the 6. Teofimo Lopez is not in that conversation, and he never was. Never was. Yes, he beat Vasily Lomachenko. Yes, Vasily Lomachenko beat all the guys before that. It's not the same thing. It's not undisputed. If it was undisputed, we wouldn't have no conversations about franchise and French fries and all this other bullshit. And Devin Haney wouldn't be a footnote anywhere. But Devin Haney is the WBC champion at 135 pounds. And right now, ferocious George Kambosos is the closest thing at 135 pounds to an undisputed champion. Teofimo Lopez blew it. He blew it. He pissed the bed. He shit the bed. He blew it. He will never be a world champion again. Mark my words. Teofimo Lopez will never be a world champion again. His father is an embarrassment. Truly an embarrassment. And what Teofimo Lopez did after the fight, saying, everybody knows I won this fight. Everybody knows I won this fight. That was fucking bullshit. During the post-fight interview, he was talking out both sides of his mouth. Classless. First he goes, I want to give all the respect. I want to give all the respect to George Kambosos Jr. I want to give all the respect to George Kambosos Jr. That's what he says first. And then he says, everybody knows I won this fight. And the whole fucking arena booed. The whole arena booed. Because it was a lie. Teofimo Lopez did nothing. Nothing. To make it clear that he won that fight yesterday. Nothing. He scored a late knockdown. That was it. That was it. The controller of that fight was George Kambosos Jr., the ferocious one, and I congratulate him. And let this be a lesson to all the boxers out there. A few dollars more, a few schmeckles more, it's not always worth it. Because go ask Teofimo Lopez if his slight incremental increase in his pay was worth him losing all those belts. Was worth him losing all those accolades. Was worth him losing his championships. Was worth him losing all his clout. Because right now, Teofimo Lopez, he looks like a fucking clown. And his father looks like the biggest fucking clown of them all. Both of those guys right now, they're not looking too good. And let me tell you something right now. I used to really like Teofimo Lopez. And over the last year, he has turned me off. All of his interviews and running his mouth, what he did with this fight, you know, the purse bid, wanting a few dollars more, the COVID, the whole thing. All the interviews, all the bullshit, the pre-fight interviews this whole week, it was just nauseating. And the post-fight interview was even worse. So Teofimo Lopez, if you can hear my voice, you fucking blew it. You blew it. And, you know, I truly actually hope that you can recover. But from what I saw yesterday, and I'll be honest, if you keep your father in your corner, if Teofimo Lopez keeps his father as his trainer and manager, never be a world boxing champion again. Never. It ain't gonna happen, brother. So until we meet again, my friends, I am your favorite boxing shaman. It's been a pleasure. Yours, mine, and ours. And whether you're a fan, fam, friend, foe, or some other kind of frenemy, I don't give a fuck. I still love you. Peace!